Hey everyone, welcome back to Iguana Gaming. I'm the Iguana, and today we are playing some Ark Survival Evolved Mobile Edition. Now, I've been getting a lot of requests on the channel to give an overview of how to use this item right here, the cooking pot. And so I thought that what we would do today is go over a few of the things that you can do with the cooking pot, why it's useful to learn, and basically why you should definitely have one, because they are really cool. They allow you to do some customization with dinos and your own items, and they can be really helpful in terms of taming as well. So cooking pots are super useful. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to learn how to do with a cooking pot is the easiest thing that we can do, and that's learn how to make some dye. So I have here some cyan dye that I just made up, and dye is really easy to make. All you need are water and berries and sometimes a few other ingredients. You can look up all of the individual recipes online. So I do have some water skins here that I've crafted, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead and make sure those are full by clicking on them and then clicking the fill button in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so now we can go to our cooking pot, and we're going to put in both of the water skins that we just filled up. And we're also going to put in just some blue and yellow dye. And then a little bit of fuel. So we're also going to put in a little bit of spark powder. And then we're going to go ahead and light this. And now you can see that this cooking bar has appeared in the upper right hand corner. Now, waiting for this. There we go. So now you can see we've made some cyan dye. It took some azleberries and some amberberries, so blue and yellow berries, and that's how you make cyan coloring. You can make a lot of different types of coloring with different types of berries. So in this case, if I were to put in, let's say, a few more red berries, a few more blueberries, and a little bit of gunpowder maybe. Let's see what we get. I may have put the gunpowder in too slowly. There we go. Alright, so now we have this magenta coloring that we were able to get by mixing the blue and the red berries. And I believe some of the spark powder was used for that as well. So you can see it's easy to make all of these different types of dyes. You can get about 20 different colors, I believe. They all have a unique recipe that uses either charcoal, gunpowder, or spark powder, and then any combination of any of the berries. So blackberries, whiteberries, red over here, yellow, and blueberries. I do not believe that you can use mejo berries to make any dye. You can try it. I don't think it will work. But mejo berries are useful for other types of items that you want to make in the cooking pot. So that's how you make dye, and dye is really cool because you can use dye to do a few different things. One of these things is you can use it, let's go ahead and unequip this saddle. You can use dye to change the color of a saddle. So I'm going to see if I can't tap and hold. Sometimes this bottom row doesn't cooperate very well, but that's okay. Maybe what we can do is this instead. Nope. We need that in our inventory. Can we please get it? It won't let me tap and hold. Alright. I may have to drop a few other items here, unfortunately. It's very frustrating. This bottom row gives me so much trouble. If we could get it up one more row, perhaps. There we go. I just needed it on a little higher on the screen. For some reason, this the lowest row on the screen here does not like to let me tap on it. Okay, so now we can tap and hold on our dye, and you can see a couple of items actually light up green in our inventory. We're just going to drag this dye onto the saddle we just got, and now we can transfer that back into the trike and equip it. And now we have a magenta colored saddle. So you can use dye to color saddles and certain items. Basically your houses. You can use a paintbrush to paint your house. You can use dye to paint your armor. So I could technically turn any of my shirt or my pants, gloves, whatever. I could turn them a different color. which is really cool. So dye is really fun. It's pretty easy to make early on. All you need is a cooking pot and a couple of water skins. So I'm going to go ahead and take all these items out, because the next thing that I'm going to show you is the most useful thing that a cooking pot can do. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these up real quick. Alright, let's open up this inventory. So we are going to throw in quite a few items here. And I will give you the list in a second as I'm gathering them. We need that. And can we come up here? You have items as well. There's only one though. We may have to go get more. Yeah, we may have to go get more rock carrots. So if we hurry, I'm just going to go ahead and put some spark powder in here. What you can see is that we have a dodo egg, some cooked meat, some mejo berries, fiber, and a rock carrot. Now, with all of these items, you can see that cooking bar is advancing, and what we are making is called dodo kibble. So depending on the type of egg that you have and the type of vegetable that you also place into the cooking pot, you can make different types of kibble from these different eggs. There we go. So now we have a dodo egg kibble. So this item is really interesting because it can actually increase taming effectiveness and reduce taming time if it's used on the right creature. So certain creatures prefer certain kibbles. Dodo kibble is preferred by pteranodons. So if you are going to go tame a flyer, in this case, I think there was one up the beach, right over there, that flying dinosaur right there, the pteranodon, they prefer to eat dodo kibble. And so if you have dodo kibble on you, it will make taming one of those much quicker, much easier, and they will come out at a higher level after taming than they would normally. So it's really useful to be able to make kibble. It's one of the most useful things that a cooking pot can do. Each kibble has a unique recipe that you can look up online. I highly recommend going to Dododex, which is an extremely useful site that basically covers a lot of the recipes that you are going to want to look at for dye, for kibble, and they also have stat calculators for your dinosaurs. So that's extremely useful, and I highly recommend you check it out. Okay. So now, one other thing I wanted to go over with the cooking pot, just really quick, is custom recipes. Now, unfortunately, I do not believe that custom recipes currently work in Ark Mobile. So you can see here I have this note that I've crafted up, and it's pretty easy to craft. All you need to do is have a little bit of thatch and some fiber. And when you make one of those, it creates this little note that you can read or you can write on. So if it's in my inventory, there's this option to write. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Now the thing is, for PC Ark, you can make custom recipes simply by placing a note in a cooking pot. And you can even see here in the item description in the lower left-hand corner that it also says put it in a cooking pot to make a custom recipe. Now the thing is, on PC Ark, when you put this note into a cooking pot, an option button shows up that will allow you to create a custom recipe. Now unfortunately, we don't have that option popping up on the mobile game at the moment. I'm not sure if that's a bug or intentional, or if there is some secret way to create a note for a custom recipe yet that we have not discovered. I'm not sure. But right now, as it is, I do not believe that there is a way to create a custom recipe in Ark Mobile, which is very disappointing because custom recipes are extremely useful. They last much longer than normal recipes, and if you make the right ones, they can give you various health benefits or stat benefits, as the case may be, depending on what items you use to create a custom recipe. Alright, so unfortunately, we can't use that at the moment. If I ever do figure it out, I will of course let everybody on the channel know, but right now, I don't know of any way to create a custom recipe using the cooking pot like you should be able to. All right, so now I wanted to go over one more thing today, and that is farming. So a lot of people have kind of wondered, why are farms important? How do you farm on Ark Mobile? And the answer is pretty simple. So if I go into my crafting inventory, you can see I've learned the Ingram for a small crop plot here. I'm going to go ahead and craft this. I'm not quite high enough level on my single player game to craft any bigger ones, but the small one will work for demonstrating what we're trying to do here. I'm going to go ahead and place it over here. Okay, so now this is a crop plot. Once you've placed it down, which you can just do anywhere on the ground, or if you want to, you can also place them on a foundation, which can kind of help to keep stuff organized. And essentially what you do with these is you place inside the crop plot's inventory water, fertilizer, and a seed. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and plant a narcoberry seed because they are probably the most useful plant you can grow in a small crop plot. There we go. All right. Actually, we do need some fertilizer. So fertilizer is dinosaur poop. That is the easiest way to get fertilizer, is just to pick up dino poop and use that as your fertilizer. You can make a more advanced fertilizer by using a compost bin, which you can learn from the Ingram's menu, but poop works just as well if you don't want to waste Ingram points. It's a little bit less effective, and it does expire, and it does not give as much fertilizer as like a proper fertilizer that you craft would do, but it is still something. Okay, now we just need some water. All right, and there are a couple of ways to get water into a crop plot. The easiest way, if you're just starting out, is to just make these water skins and go ahead and deposit them. And you should be able to feed this water skin into the crop plot. So now you can see that our water inventory is 199 out of 200 on the extended menu here. And also that there is a little plant in the center of this, and that the seed has disappeared. So what's happening is this, basically this little plant is starting to grow, and when it grows all the way up, it will produce narcoberries for us. It will be a narcoberry bush, which is extremely useful, because then you don't have to go out collecting narcoberries from wild bushes to make your narcotics. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here for now. You can also see how much fertilizer is left in the plot by the number on the bottom of that screen. So we have 10,900-ish. So now if you make fertilizer in a compost bin, it takes 50 thatch and 3 different poops. It doesn't matter which poops you use, what size they are. 3 poops and 50 thatch will give you 1 fertilizer. It does take time to craft, so be aware of that. But it gives you 50,000 fertilizer if you do that. So it's much more efficient than regular poop, but it does take time to craft. And you do have to spend Ingram points making a compost bin, which you can learn pretty early on. Okay, let's see here. The compost bin is here at level 15, and you can see it costs 6 Ingram points. And so I've elected not to make it because for a single player game, poop should be enough. But for an online game, you are definitely going to want to make a compost bin because you have to watch the fertilizer levels very carefully. Otherwise your plant can die. If you run out of fertilizer or water, your plant will die, and that's no fun. You can see that the water's going up, and that's because it's raining right now, so rain will refill the water of a crop plot as well, or you can go ahead and make yourself a tap. Okay, so if I come down here at level 17, you can make yourself a stone irrigation pipe intake. If you place that in water and use these pipe pieces to connect it to a tap, and you put the tap near a plot, it will automatically keep the plot watered as long as those pipes are intact. So it's extremely useful. It's very, very useful to be able to grow crops and narco berries and all sorts of things. Okay, so one other thing I want to show you is the seeds that you can get. So if you go out collecting berries on a herbivore creature like a trike, you will sometimes get these seeds, like this citronal seed, and you normally don't find those types of plants in the wild. You can find rock carrot seeds, and those you can get in the wild, but you will not find savoroots or citronals or longgrass in the wild. Now those are what are considered crops. And crops take larger crop plots than berries do. So you have to have a medium or a large crop plot in order to be able to grow these particular seeds. However, it's really useful if you do that, because once you get these particular seeds grown, you will be able to harvest those crops. And those crops are used in certain recipes for kibble and things like that. So you definitely want to, if you are interested in making kibble and having really effective tames, you want to grow up all 4 of the different crops that you can possibly grow in this game. So that would be the savoroots, the citronals, the longgrass, and the rock carrots. Those are the 4 crops. And you will need at least a medium-sized plot in order to use that. Okay. So, I think that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. It's just a very brief overview of cooking pots and dye and kibble and crops. So I hope you found this information very useful. If you did find yourself enjoying this content, you can, of course, subscribe. And please do like the video. It very much helps me out. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Signing off. This is the Iguana.